Good morning, children. In today's English class, we will read the biography of a scientist Richard H. Ebright. That is the chapter Making of a Scientist from the supplementary book Footprints Without Feet. Now, here we will read about that how a scientist is made. That is how a child slowly got transformed to a scientist through different interest infused in the child's mind by his mother, and then slowly and slowly the transformation how it came. That we will read today. And basically it is as we will go through his life process, that is how he got shifted from one hobby to the other, and then different discoveries he did. So it is filled with facts. So I will ask you to be more alert in reading this chapter about the facts of the chapter. That is how humans, what are the scientific developments that came in his mind, and how his mind got developed from one phase to the other and finally to become a scientist. Let us start with that. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory of how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. It was first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. Important scientific journal, that means they mostly publish the scientific that the experiments done by the experienced scientists, seeded scientists. But it was for the first time that they published about the works of some college students. In sports, that what we like, making the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run, your first time at bat, these are very big achievements in sports. In the same way, you can call it was a very big achievement for two college students, junior scientists, to get their works published in such a big journal. It was a very big achievement. For Richard Ebright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science. Long string of achievements where many pearls are there in his string. This is the first one. This is the achievement starts from there. Not actually, it started earlier, and different feathers came up on his cap time to time. It in a long string of achievements in science and other fields, and it all started with butterflies. So how it started with butterflies, his line of achievements, how butterflies can be the base of all this, let us know that through this chapter. An only child, Ebright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there, he said. I certainly couldn't play football or baseball with a team of one, as because he was the only child and probably there was not many children in the neighborhood, so he had to remain alone. And staying alone cannot make a football team. So that is why he had to manage his pastime himself only, finding out different sorts of enjoyment in his own way. But there was one thing I could do, collecting. So what I could do of myself is collecting things, different things. So he did, and did he ever. He started at that age, small age, and he continued that collection forever in his life, different types of collections. Actually, children, they have different types of hobbies. Collecting stamps is a very common, very interesting hobby, very common hobby. It's not for small children, even grown-ups also. And different other types, like I know a child who used to collect pen caps. Then those who collect only the caps of the cold drinks. There are children who used to collect earlier, not nowadays, that they used to collect only the matchboxes, bus tickets. So there are different hobbies for different children. Those have interest involved. And here, Ibrat had the interest of collecting butterflies. So Ibrat collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. All his activities, he was serious always throughout his life for any activity you can say. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. Among his long list of hobbies, another interesting hobby was gazing at the night sky like an astronomer. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother, which is very important, very, very important, that his mother encouraged his interest in learning. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mountaining materials, and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways. Means she supported him very much to continue with his different types of odd hobbies, which are very interesting. I was his only companion until he started school, his mother said. No one was there as his companion other than his mother. And after that, I would bring home friends for him. Mother used to call friends for him. But at night, we just did things together. But when it was night, only the world became confined to mother and son. They were the support to each other. Richie was my whole life, that is Richard Ebright. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in third grade. So the mother was the only one to support him. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he did not have things to do, I found work for him. She was not a careless mother to leave the child like that. Probably that has made a scientist really like him. That the mother used to support him, different ideas to think. Mind was not idle. Brain was not idle. Constantly there was some support to think different new ideas and new thoughts. Not physical work, but learning things. His mother said. He liked it. He wanted to learn. And learn he did. He earned top grades in school. He was a good student. On everyday things, he was just like every other kid, his mother said. Rest of the things, he was very like other children. But regarding studies, he was far better than the others. By the time he was in the second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. And you can see the chart that which suggests how many different types of butterflies he collected. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travels of Monarch X. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. If that book would not be there, probably the history would be different. This book encouraged the child to take more interest in the collection of butterflies, which might have stopped if the book would not be there. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. Let me take a small break here and explain in few lines that what is this tagging. The same tagging had been done by Dr. Salim Ali, you can say, almost the same type. The birdman of India, Dr. Salim Ali, the famous Indian ornithologist, he also did with the birds like this. What they used to do, let me tell about the butterflies, that they used to tag the butterflies. They used to tag and put an adhesive in the wings of the butterflies, and now the butterflies would start flying. Now, someone else who would get a tagged butterfly like that would take out the tag and would write the name and place of the person and the date where he has collected it, and would send it to the source, that is here Dr. Yucahart. What does that suggest is that it suggests the flight, they could track the flight of the butterfly, how much time it is taking, how much distance it can fly, to where it can fly. All these details would come up to the source. In that way, they can track the flight of the butterflies. That is, from where they can fly to where, how much distance, how much time, etc. A nice record can be nice, you can say it's a good survey that how butterflies fly. So this research work was done by Urquhart, and a suggestion was there at the end page of the book that attracted this child, and he started doing that tagging. The butterfly collecting season around Reading lasts 6 weeks in late summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. You will go, you will catch one, then you will tag. So much time will be lost in going and catching the butterfly. So will you tag and carry on with your research, or will you go and catch a flying butterfly? Time waste. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. Now he started raising flock of butterflies. Let the butterfly stock be constant with him, so that he can anytime tag it and fly it. So he started raising them in his basement through their life cycle, proper life cycle, from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterflies' wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. Eventually, I began to lose interest in tagging butterflies. It's tedious and there's not much feedback. The ratio or the proportion of the work and its result was not equal. So slowly he lost interest. And in all time I did it, he laughed, only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured. And they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. So the success rate was not too good, rather not satisfactory for him. Then in the 7th grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a county science fair and lost. Though he lost, but he tried a county science fair with different experiments, and he understood what science is. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not getting anything while everybody else had won something. All the competitors won the prize, but he failed. He was sitting with his with his experiment, but he could not achieve anything. Ebright said his entry was slides of frog tissues, which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. Only slides and charts are not so attractive when other competitors, they tried to do some experience in front of the audience. That attracted more to the audience. So they won prize. So he realized that only display is not the fact. You have to prove science in front of the others, in front of the eyes of the others. Only facts and details do not attract or pull the common people. So already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Ebright was appearing. I knew that for the next New Year's fair, I would have to do a real experiment. I understood, Richard Ebright says, that I have to do something which would be really scientific, it means real experimental science in front of the eyes of the audience, something not theoretical but practical, demonstrative should be. The subject I knew most about was the insect work I had been doing in the past several years. So he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas, and back came a stack of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in county and international science fairs. Those ideas helped him a lot throughout his school days to present different presentations in these type of competitions. For his 8th grade project, Ebright tried to find the cause of a viral disease that kills nearly all monarch butterflies and every few years. Ebright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. He tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I did not get any real results, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried the experiment. This time I won. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that viceroy's butterflies copy monarchs. There were butterflies called the viceroy's butterflies, and they copied the monarchs. The name, you can understand, children, it suggests that the monarchs are the monarchs and the viceroys are less to the monarchs. So the viceroys usually copied the monarchs. Let us see how he proved that. The theory was that viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. As monarchs don't taste good to birds, viceroys, on the other hand, do taste good to birds. So, the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. If the monarchs are not good to taste, viceroys are good to taste to the birds. So, viceroys, butterflies, automatically, or you can say naturally, they have a tendency to look like monarchs so that they can be less fed by the birds, because monarchs do not taste good. Birds do not like them much. They like less than the viceroys. The birds like viceroys more. So the viceroys naturally have a tendency to look like monarchs so that they can be less fed by the birds. Ebright's project was to see whether, in fact, birds would eat monarchs, whether they really eat monarchs or not. That is the first thing to check. That was Ebright's experiment. He found that a starling, a small bird, starling, would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. So it was found that yes, starling bird likes to eat more monarchs than the rest of the bird's food. So definitely it was proved that birds like monarch butterflies, but other butterflies more than the other bird food. That was the first thing for him to do. This project was placed first in the zoology division and third overall in the county science fair. Another feather in the cap of Ebright. In his second year in high school, Richard Ebright began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory of the life of cells, another phase of experiment. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental. Ebright said that everyone assumed that the spots were just ornamental, but Dr. Yuko did not believe it. There were spots, golden spots, on the wings of the of the butterfly, and everyone thought that that was ornamental, decorative. But Dr. Euclid did not believe it. He said that it was something different. To find the answer, Ebright, and another excellent science student, first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. He said that that is to be proved first, that it was really necessary, that it was necessary for the bird's full development. This project won Ebright's first place in the county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There, he won third place for zoology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Entomology laboratory means where this different experimental works on works on insects go on. So there he got the chance to work during the summer in the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Let us stop this video here, and the next portion we will continue in the next part of the video. Thank you, children.